what is up, mortals? It is Chara zor-el here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 3 of What If Izuku Was a Stand User. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So, we begin. On his walk home, Midoriya's mind was fixated on the battle he had minutes ago with the sludge monster. The most prevalent topic being what his personal Jesus did to him that forced him to attack the villain with such recklessness. That thing, it stabbed me in the back, the boy muttered to himself. Whatever it did to me, it maybe got me so angry that I just charged that guy. I've never gotten that angry before in my entire life. What kind of quirk is this? He felt the spot on his back where personal Jesus stabbed him, only to find no signs of blood or gashes. I'm going to have to talk to Mom about this when I get home. She's going to be dancing around the house for weeks when she finds out I developed a quirk. Before he could talk further to himself about what happened today, All Might slid down the alleyway, saying his signature, "I am here" catchphrase. Whoa, All Might! I thought you were busy speaking to those reporters. The #1 pro hero laughed off the boy's words. Ha 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 ha! I stand for justice, young man, not sound bites or video clips, for I am All Might. He then reverted to his smaller form, coughing up blood and scaring the green-haired boy in front of him in the process. Sorry about that, All Might said as he tried to compose himself. I just wanted to stop by and thank you for what you did today. I heard you got torn up by Death Arms and the others for your actions, but if you didn't do what you did, I would have been another bystander watching some kid potentially get killed. I wouldn't have had the courage to muster up what little of my strength I had in my reserves to defeat that villain back there. So, thanks. That's when Midoriya tried to say his piece. No, All Might, you're wrong! I'm the one that accidentally knocked the slime guy out of your pants. I'm the reason this mess started in the first place. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for that. All Might sighed as he continued. Don't worry about that, kid. I've made my fair share of rookie mistakes over the years. It's just part of being a hero. Midoriya was relieved of most of his burden as a smile took over the teen's face before All Might continued. You mentioned earlier that you didn't have a power, so when I saw some timid, quirkless kid risk life and limb to save you, it inspired me to act too. That's when the thought of Izuku's new power entered his head, and he interrupted Toshinori's speech. Oh, well, about that. You're going to find this hard to believe, but I actually developed a quirk back on the rooftop we spoke on moments after you left. I know it sounds crazy, but it helped me in defeating the bad guy earlier. That's when personal Jesus appeared alongside Midoriya as he looked at the crab-like spirit with a smile. You, what? You developed a quirk? In between the 6 minutes we crossed paths? Are you serious? Midoriya responded with a nod, which put All Might in a surprised and curious state. Well, holy crap, kid, what are the odds? What kind of power you got? Let me see it. Midoriya was confused. The quirk he was referencing was floating by his side. It's right here, All Might. Midoriya pointed to the stand at his side. I developed some kind of creature that I think has the ability to make me angry. That's when All Might stared at the child in absolute confusion, looking around the child to see what creature he was referencing. What are you talking about? All Might asked. I don't see anything here besides us. For those of you who don't get the memo, it's only because other stand users can see stand users. So, since All Might is not a stand user, he can't see personal Jesus. What do you mean? It's right here. You don't see a green crab thing with a long tail and a turret right here? You can't see this? No, what? A turret? What? What? All Might spouted. At this point, the pro hero was flabbergasted. He thought Midoriya was either crazy or became demented when he was told earlier that he couldn't be a hero without a quirk. Is this kid serious? All Might thought to himself. He seemed distraught when I told him that people without quirks couldn't be heroes. He's obviously a fanboy of mine, probably the most devoted one I've seen in a while. I hope he didn't lose his sanity because of what I told him earlier. Midoriya was just as puzzled as the man before him. Izuku could very clearly see the crab-like being before him and even interacted with it, where it impaled his back and wrote in his hero journal, yet All Might acted like it wasn't even there. The deflated pro hero focused back on Midoriya, and he asked for his name. It's Izuku. Izuku Midoriya, sir. Izuku Midoriya, eh? Toshinori thought about what to do next. He was planning on deeming the green-haired kid worthy of inheriting his quirk and spending roughly a year's time training the boy to handle his power, but part of himself thought the child was nuts, which could be a problem later down the road if it were true and if he were to inherit All Might's power. He couldn't officially prove this, nor did he have the time to, so he thought the best course of action was to get the kid some helpful advice and send him on his way. Well, listen, Izuku. I remember you telling me you wanted to be a pro hero one day. So, I'm guessing you're planning on applying to UA, right? Izuku responded with a nod. Well then, they may be 10 months from now, but you must prepare for them. This isn't some ordinary high school. This is the #1 hero school in all of Japan. We'll be competing with around 200 other students in a test that'll test your brains and brawn. You must keep up with the pack or you'll get left in the dust. So here's some helpful advice. Get up a gym membership and bulk up, learn some martial arts or both. As for the grades, obviously enough, study, study, study. As for this power you say you have, you need to figure out how it can help save lives and stop bad guys. Do those 3 things, and you should have no problem passing the entry exams. Understand? Izuku took out his journal and began muttering the advice he was given. Go to the gym, get strong, get good grades, figure out what personal Jesus can do. Okay, got it! He closed his charred hero notebook. As he looked back at All Might, it looked like he was cringing a bit. Can he seriously just call his power personal Jesus? You gotta be kidding me. The deflated hero thought in his head before he spoke again. Well, I got somewhere I need to be and you have the advice I gave you. You've got a tough test ahead of yourself, kiddo. You must physically and mentally prepare for it. So good luck. All Might walked off, thinking that he accomplished this the best he could. He had no idea what to think of Midoriya, other than the fact that he was likely a bit unhinged, but he felt he did a good thing telling the kid proper advice. After the words of wisdom his idol told him, Midoriya spent the rest of that day's evening preparing what would be his schedule for the next 10 months of his life to ready himself for the big entrance exam for UA High. Firstly, Izuku purchased a membership for a nearby gym where he spent countless hours doing workouts to bulk up his physique. The gym unfortunately didn't offer any self-defense classes, and the ones that did had a much higher monthly membership fee than the green-hair protagonist could afford, but he didn't see this as a problem. He instead decided to watch viral videos of pro heroes that specialized in close-range combat like Mirko and Death Arms, and study the fighting techniques they used in battle. He figured that his fanboy knowledge of heroes and learning their fighting styles would be just as much help as taking a few martial arts classes. It was questionable whether or not this had any actual benefits, but regardless, the hero fanboy stuck to it. With his gym schedule down along with his school hours, Izuku made sure to include an extra hour of studying every weekday to better help him understand the material he learned from school, which in turn helped the child with his GPA. After a 10-month-long montage of studying, workouts, dietary changes, and the occasional burnout, the big day had finally arrived. It was time for the UA entrance exams, and a new and improved Izuku Midoriya was walking towards the entrance of the building, hopefully ready for whatever was in store. He was stronger, slightly smarter, and booming with ambition. That was until he heard the word Deku growled behind him. He turned around to find Katsuki Bakugo walking his way. So you actually bothered showing up. Whatever. It's not like you're gonna be around for long. Now move it. Midoriya anxiously stepped to the side as he looked at the blonde bedhead make his way into the building. Ever since the sludge villain incident, Izuku noticed that Katsuki had lighted up with him a bit. He thought that there was a chance that Bakugo had some underlying respect towards him for his heroic act months back. But then he thought that maybe he just didn't want to get into any trouble that would jeopardize his chances of being accepted to UA. Whatever the case, Midoriya couldn't think about that for now. He took a deep breath, exhaled, and walked towards the entrance exam building as his stand popped out of his body and latched itself onto his shoulder, letting out a soft squeal noise as it eyed the brick building in front of his green-haired master. Yeah, I know, little guy, Izuku said. We've been getting ready for this day for a long time. Let's hope that all that training we did to get to this point was worth it. Izuku tightened his backpack straps and walked inside. He made his way to a big room with roughly 200 other students as they patiently waited for the orientation to begin. Within minutes, the room's lights dimmed down with a couple spotlights pointed towards the stage where a man with a crazy blonde hairstyle stood at the podium to greet the new class. Midoriya blushed with starstruck and awe as he recognized the man at the podium was none other than the vocal hero, Present Mike. What's up, UA High? This is your high school DJ here. Come on, let's make some noise. Who's ready for this exam? The entire room was in silence, all except for Izuku, who continued muttering to himself about the pro hero at the podium. Tough crowd, eh? Alright, I can dig it. Let me just skip straight to the good stuff. The screen behind the voice hero lit up and began showing a fancy slideshow as President Mike explained the exam. So, as your application states, you will be undergoing 10-minute mock battles in super hip urban areas, you dig? We'll be splitting you guys up into 7 groups. After I'm done spitting fire, each of you will go into your designated battlegrounds and show us what you're made of. The room was still silent as everyone looked at their card showing which battleground they would be fighting in. Anyway, in each battleground there's an army of robots that must be stopped. Each of the 3 robots in the field has a specific point value based on how difficult they'll be to face. The aim of the game is simple. Y'all have 10 minutes to smash as many robots as you can and rack up your point values. Kind of like a beat-em-up video game. Also, remember candidates, you guys are here to be heroes, and heroes don't hurt other pros with their quirks, so no friendly fire. You dig? Before he could continue further, a tall student with blue hair stood up, requesting a question. Alright, we have a call-in. What's your request? The pro hero asked as the suit-wearing student spoke. On the application that you gave us students, there are 4 robots listed here rather than the 3 that you have spoken of. Is this a mistake? I imagine the best hero school in all of Japan would not have made mistakes this easy to spot. Alright, thanks for that call-in request. So the 4th robot that our amigo in the crowd pointed out is a 0-pointer. There's one in each battleground, but like I said, it's a 0-pointer, which means it's worth 0 points. Just think of it as an obstacle you must avoid or work around as you take care of the small fries. Not saying you can't beat it, it's just there's no point to. The screen behind President Mike turned off as he got the last words of his orientation in. Alrighty, I think that's everything I gotta say. I'll be signing off here, so look at your application cards, find out which battleground you gotta be in, and get ready to bring it, plus ultra style! After the orientation, Midoriya got on a bus that was full of 40 other students as they were hauled to the combat area he was assigned to. They eventually arrived at what looked like a city block surrounded by a concrete wall with a big door, which everyone grouped up by, readying themselves for the start of the exam. Everyone was pumped and eager to get started, all except for Izuku Midoriya, who was standing just outside the crowd, shaking nervously. Despite undergoing 10 months of training for this day and having a quirk-like ability at his side, he was having thoughts as to whether or not he could do this. He knew that the entrance exams were going to require physicality, but he had no idea he'd be going up against giant robots. While Midoriya spent the majority of his 10 months' time going to the gym and studying, he also found time to study his stand personal Jesus. And while he didn't have all the answers down about its capabilities, he was able to learn a bit more about what the stand could do, along with a couple helpful skills. For starters, he learned to summon it and recall his stand at will, so it could no longer come out only when the stand itself chooses to. He also learned that his stand has a range of about 10 meters. Couple that with the gun on its back, it is easy to explain that personal Jesus' best attribute is its range. However, while he could easily win at a distance game, the reasoning behind Midoriya's anxiousness before the exam was that he'd be fighting a group of enemies which his stand was useless against. Midoriya discovered that his stand mainly fights with the gun on its back, which fires easily breakable capsules filled with a strange dust that gives anyone who inhales the dust a certain emotional or psychological reaction based on which of the 7 symbols on personal Jesus' back the gun was locked on before firing. It also had a secondary attack involving the stinger on its tail, which pumps a serum into a person's body that has the same psychological effect as the capsule that the stand is locked on, but with a more potent kick to it. After this discovery, Izuku found that personal Jesus' ability is that it can temporarily alter a person's emotions and psychological awareness, depending on which of the 7 symbols on the creature's back it locks into before attacking. The problem Midoriya had was that since he was going to be fighting robots, the dust that his stand uses in its attack would be pretty much pointless. The only hope our main protagonist had at passing this test was whether or not the stand itself could fire these pellets at a trajectory fast enough to damage, or better yet, destroy these bots with one shot. As he was in thought about what to do, Izuku was unaware that the voice of President Mike yelled for everyone to start. Personal Jesus appeared out of Midoriya and screeched to get his attention. Eee! The green-haired lad looked at the colossal door to see that everyone was already half a block ahead of him. Prompting the teenage stand user to rush into the training ground after them. Midoriya tried to keep a cool head. Everyone was ahead of him and he could already hear metal being smashed just a block ahead of him. It was 1 minute into the exam and students were already racking up points. 1 minute became 2, then 3, then 4. Everywhere Midoriya went, there were smashed robots. He was growing desperate. Within 5 minutes of running around the fake city, Izuku began to think that there were no more enemies left. Most of the robots he came across were destroyed, except for one that smashed through a building, knocking him to the ground as the robot's cybernetic eye locked onto its green-eyed target. Oh man, it's a 1-pointer! Midoriya quickly got up and raised his fist in the direction of the robot and called out his stand to fire at the robot. Personal Jesus sprouted from Izuku's back, clenched onto his wrist, and began spinning the symbol plate around its turret as the one pointer was in a dead charge towards Midoriya. Come on, PJ, I don't care what symbol you pick, just fire! Its turret locked onto one of its symbols as the barrel was aimed right at the robot's cybernetic eyeball. I hope this works, Izuku argued in his head. His stand was ready to fire until a blue laser came out of nowhere and blasted the one pointer to bits. In shock, Midoriya quickly found that person responsible for taking his kill. A blonde boy who looked like he was dressed like a professional figure skater. Thanks for being the decoy, mon ami. I'll remember you after this exam's over. Au revoir! The blonde boy ran off, leaving Midoriya a tad pissed over his lost chance of getting the first point. But he realized he made a mistake. When the robot burst through that wall, Midoriya didn't have to stand out until the robot began his charge on him. If he had it out beforehand, he could have gotten the kill shot before the figure skater-looking boy took his kill. Hey, I need you to stay by my side, okay? Midoriya said, looking at his green crab companion. I know this is tough, but I need you right now. Stay out here and keep that turret loaded. If we find a one-pointer, I need you to blast it the second you see it. The creature responded with its usual squeal. As President Mike's voice announced that there were 4 minutes left in the challenge. Midoriya at this point was nervous he was going to fail and booked it down the street, desperately trying to find any target. However, not long after, a loud bang was heard in the middle of the urban area. All the students in the area directed their attention to where the loud bang came from. Within moments, they found the source of the explosions was a massive skyscraper-sized robot staring down the UA entrance. What the heck? Is that the zero-pointer? Midoriya stressed as he began trembling at the gargantuan robot's presence. The zero-pointer began winding back a punch and hit the ground with enough force to blast the entrance with a blinding gust of wind and dust. The force of the robot's punch knocked Izuku to the ground, as the only thing he could see was a massive dust cloud and the other students running for their lives from the megaton robot. Hey, personal Jesus, you got any ideas? Midoriya muttered while he was on the brink of wetting his pants. He looked around to see that his stand wasn't by his side and had retreated back to his body. Seriously, again? Before he could call the stand back out, he heard someone cry in pain. Midoriya looked in the direction of the dust cloud and found a brunette girl with pink cheeks caught under some rubble, with no way to get out. Midoriya looked around at the sewing chaos. Not a single person realized the girl was trapped and were more focused on running for their lives. He wanted to act, but he couldn't muster up the courage to get up and help, until personal Jesus sprouted from his body, emitted a green aura around its body. It lashed itself onto Midoriya's shoulder, with its symbol plate spinning up and its tail ready to sting its host. Oh god, no, wait, not this again! Midoriya screamed as the green chrome crab locked into its chosen symbol and stabbed Midoriya's back once again, bringing the green edge a sharp but brief pain. Izuku was terrified he was going to go into another blind rage, but instead, he felt an adrenaline spike coupled with a noticeable increase to his senses. Izuku looked around at the chaos to see what was happening. He noticed his vision was clearer, the world around him moving slightly slower than usual. His hearing was more sensitive, so much so that he could actually hear a honeybee pollinating a flower right across the street from where he was at. He could even hear students from behind him saying to themselves what the greenette was doing sitting around while the zero-pointer was coming their way. Izuku's stand floated in front of him, making squeal noises to try to get his attention. The stand was trying to warn him that the zero-pointer was making its way up the street. When Midoriya understood what the stand was trying to say, he realized that if the girl didn't move, she was going to get flattened. Midoriya knew what he had to do. He got up and sprinted as fast as he could towards the trapped brunette. That's when the girl spotted a green-haired kid with the tracksuit make his way to help. Feeling relieved, she used her quirk on the rubble caught on top of her. Hey, I think my legs are broken, she cried out to the green-haired boy. I used my quirk on this rubble. Hurry, lift it, I think that robot's coming! Midoriya heaved the near 100-pound chunks of rubble off the bubbly brunette as fast as he could, tossing the zero-gravity rubble away as he began to pick the girl up. Personal Jesus, find us a place to take cover, fast! Midoriya ordered the stand. The stand flew towards a four-way intersection and looked around to find the best hiding spot. Within seconds, the sentient stand spotted what looked like a gutted-out bistro and called for its master to follow it. The stand swung the door open to the restaurant as Midoriya rushed inside with the girl in hand. Right as the zero-pointer crossed the intersection, Midoriya successfully avoided the gargantuan automaton by mere seconds. Midoriya laid the girl down on a dining table and took a second to catch his breath. Okay, I think we should be safe here. How's your leg? Midoriya asked his female acquaintance. I don't know. I think I sprained it. But hey, thanks for saving me back there. Midoriya's face began to blush a little as he realized the girl was talking to him. You're welcome. I saw it come your way and I... President Mike's voice interrupted the stuttering teen as he announced that there was 1 minute left to the exam. What? 1 minute? Izuku exploded with shock and disappointment in his voice. Oh, no, you've got to be kidding me. All this time and I haven't destroyed a single robot. Wait, hold on. You don't have any points? The girl asked Izuku. No, I've been looking everywhere, but every robot I found was destroyed. Going to fail. Damn it! Midoriya was in disbelief. He wanted to go back outside to try to find more robots, but it was too dangerous as the zero-pointer was just outside the cafe. However, as luck would favor Izuku, yet another one-pointer robot smashed through the wall of the restaurant with his eyes set on Midoriya. Another one-pointer! This is my chance! Personal Jesus, fire! Izuku's stand launched itself onto his arm with the turret locked in place. The barrel was aimed right at the robot's head as he fired the shot. No good. The shot grazed the robot's head. Oh, come on! Reload! The stand symbol plate spun around once again, locked into another symbol, and was prepped to fire. But the one-pointer closed the distance and attempted to strike on the green-eyed teen, but Midoriya quickly dodged the blow. Izuku quickly got back on his feet and fired yet another shot from his stand's cannon at the robot. It was a direct hit, but the projectile didn't even put a dent in the armor. It's just as he feared. His stand was completely useless against the one-pointer. Are you kidding me? Midoriya yelled out in distress. There wasn't much time left. If Midoriya didn't do something fast, he was guaranteed to fail. He was quickly looking for something in the room to use against the robot. The closest thing he could find was a bar stool. He grabbed the stool and was ready to whack it over the contraption's head. Until the girl Izuku saved sat back up and used her quirk on the robot, making it weightless. She used her strength to lift the robot off the ground, flipped it upside down, and pile-drived its head into the ground. Here! Finish it off quickly! The girl yelled out as she held the robot in place. Midoriya, stool in hand, ran up against the robot and began smashing the robot's head repeatedly. After hit number 3, the robot was toast, and Midoriya got his one and only point. I did it! I got a point! And it was thanks to you! The teen said in relief to the girl. The girl was going to say something, but she turned away from the greenette and began hurling. President Mike's voice came through the speakers to announce that the 10-minute mark had passed and the exam was over. Once the girl Izuku was with composed herself from her puking episode, he helped her out of the bistro and regrouped with the other students for the next part of their entrance exams. Izuku was mildly content that he was able to get 1 point, but was disappointed that he couldn't do better. He knew he did the best he could with what he had, even though he wished the physical part of the exam would favor him and his capabilities, but beggars couldn't be choosers. All he could do now was do his best on the writing part of the exam and wish for the best. Hopefully, his hard work would get him into UA. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. On top of that, we have a third channel called We the Celestials Naruto What If. It's what we do on this channel already, but in the vast world and lore of Naruto. Go check it out if you're in the mood for some jutsu action. On behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of making today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. We're always looking for some new members to join us. Well, that's it for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.